I'm one of the physicians over at Medical Associates, and I'm here to talk about how you can be active participants in your healthcare. I think we all want to be healthier, and we have this desire to be well and to live well and to enjoy our retirement. And how do we actually get there? So, first of all, what are our target goals? I handed out these sheets, and what you're supposed to do is put your numbers in on the left-hand side, and then once you fill them in, you can open it up and look at to see what your target numbers are. If you guys want, I have a BMI calculator, so if you know your height and weight but you don't know your BMI, we can pass that around. Does anyone want to look at that?
How do you figure?
Well, there's a little wheel here, and you can take your height and your weight and you turn it around, and you can figure out what your BMI is. She'll hand it to you in a second. Pardon?
It'll be logical.
It'll be logical, yes. So how do we get there? What else can we do to improve our health besides just the regular eating, exercising, those type of things? And how do we make change? I think that's really the biggest issue with us is we have these desires to eat better or to exercise, but how do you actually institute change? Okay, so the body mass index should be less than 25. Medicare says that we should have a little bit higher BMI, but for most adults, 30 to 35 is overweight, and over 35 is considered obese. And I know obese has this connotation of having negative connotations, but it's just an actual number. The goal waist is 35 inches for women, 40 for men. Blood pressure, 120 over 80, though we typically don't always treat until it's over 140 over 90. Between 130 to 140 is high normal. Your LDL should be below 100, and there's a way to calculate that. So even if your LDL is a little bit over 100, you may not need cholesterol medications. Your HDL, there's a typo there. It's over 40 for men, over 50 for women. On the LIMC labs, it says 40 to 60 is normal, but the higher the better. So over 60 is actually cardioprotective. That means that it's a positive risk factor for us. Our fasting blood sugar should be below 100. Between 100 and 125 is considered prediabetes. 126 and higher is diabetic. The hemoglobin A1C, what that is looking at is the red cells. The red cells, they have little sugars attached to it. And so, and the lifespan of the red cells is 3 months. So you're looking back over 3 months how many sugars are stuck to the red cells, and to see what your hemoglobin A1C. So it should be less than 5.5. 5.5 to 6.5 is prediabetes. Over 6.5 is diabetic. Diabetic goal is under 7. Okay, so exercise. The minimum amount of exercise is supposed to be 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise. And you know that it's moderate intensity if you're having some trouble talking. So you're a little bit out of breath. You don't have to be running full on. So what that means is 30 minutes most days of the week, so 50 minutes. There's some examples up here of things that are moderate intensity. Walking your dog probably doesn't count as moderate intensity. It's still good, but if your dog pees every 2 minutes, you're probably not building up anything. The other thing is we're supposed to get two times a week. We're supposed to do some weight type of activities. So gardening counts, push-ups, sit-ups, lifting weights, yoga counts. Anyone who's done yoga knows that you really build your strength. Downward dog is not really a resting position. Yeah, no. If you're really short on time, if you want to cut it in half, how much time you need, you can do vigorous activity. So that would be running, jogging, singles tennis, basketball, things that you're really exerting yourself. And then 2 times a week. Now, for you to lose weight, you need to do more than this. This is supposed to be the minimum. This is what you're supposed to do in order to maintain your health. And so with the exercise, I think it's important to partner up with somebody. I think we do better with our exercise if we have a partner. If our husband will go with us for a walk, if we're going to a class where we have that camaraderie in there. So trying to find somebody to do that. The time frame, they did a study looking at people who exercise and people who didn't exercise. The difference was that people exercise made it a priority. They carved out the time in their schedule and they said, this is when I'm going to exercise. I get up at 5:30 so I can go to the gym at 6. It is really not very easy, but that's because I know I can't do it at any other time. So you really have to decide you're going to do it. Okay, so we talked about exercise. The next part of it is your diet. How many servings of fruits and vegetables are you getting? What types of meat are you eating? The fat and oil, what are you drinking? We can get a lot of empty calories in what we're eating. And what types of grains are you eating? So aim for 5, probably better 7 to 8. There's definite benefits between people who have 0 to 3 servings, 3 to 6, and then over 6. The Mediterranean diet probably has the best evidence in terms of living longer and living better. And it's very high in fruits and vegetables. You want to get a wide range of different colors. So purple, green, red, yellow, orange, all of those different colors. The CDC has a website for your age and your sex for how many fruits and vegetables you would get. So a serving size is a cup of fruit, a cup of vegetables, fruit juice and vegetable juice. I'm not a huge fan of juice because you don't get the fiber in it. I don't think it's as good for you. It's not as filling or satiating as a real thing, but in a pinch, if you needed to take a V8 to get some servings. And it's 2 cups of leafy greens for 1 serving, which makes sense. I mean, it's not so compact. I have some pictures here of half a cup. A small box of raisins is actually a 1/4 of a cup, if that gives you an idea. And these are from the cdc.gov website. There's a lot of different ideas for what a serving size is, but since they're the ones who put out the recommendations, I figured they would have the best ideas. Okay, meats. Meats should be lean meats, skinless chicken, fish. Cold water fish is probably the best for you. A serving size of red meat is actually 4 ounces, which is the size of your palm. So a 16-ounce steak is a family size steak. It's not a serving size. And red meat should be 2 times a week or less. So it's not an everyday thing. Oils and fats, they go back and forth. Butter, margarine, which one's best for you? There's lots of different types of oils. Olive oil consistently seems to come out as the best type of oil. So if you can cook with olive oil, I think you're gonna do best. The Mediterranean diet, it's quite a bit of olive oil that they use in their diet. Avoid baked products. A lot of crackers and cookies and pastries and donuts. While they may taste good, they tend to have a lot of the bad fats in them. So you want to avoid them as much as possible. I think treats every once in a while are fine, but you don't want to be eating them on a regular day. Drinks. So your dairy should be 3 servings of dairy per day. A cup of milk is 1 serving, or yogurt, some cheese. It's supposed to be non-fat or low-fat cheese that you eat and yogurt, and you have to make sure the yogurt doesn't have a lot of sugar in it, because, I don't know, non-fat cheese doesn't taste very good, but anyways, that's a recommendation. Soy milk and almond milk also has calcium in it. It seems to have a fewer less calories. The CDC said it was 2 pints per serving, 1 pint, which is 2 cups. But it looked like when I've looked at the calcium that it looked equivalent to a cup of milk. Water is always good. Sodas have a lot of empty calories. So that's one way if you want to get healthier and you're drinking 3 sodas is to cut out 1 of your sodas and try to cut back. Diet sodas are very controversial, that there's something about the diet sodas making you want to eat sweets and maybe not being good for your health. I don't know what the real thing is. I sometimes let my kids have diet sodas as a treat, but definitely real sodas are just they don't satiate you. You don't feel less hungry, so they're something you can get rid of.
I've heard something else about soda. Just wondering if it's true. They say that it inhibits your body from absorbing calcium at a
Yeah.
rate of 50%.
I don't know the actual number, but yeah,
That's
it
what
can.
a
And-
PT person told me that one time.
Right. It also upsets your stomach. If you have trouble with your stomach, if you have reflux, it increases your risk for reflux. So there's no nutritional value in it. So yeah. Alcohol, it should be 1 serving or less for women, 2 servings or less for men.
Have you heard there is a direct link with breast cancer and alcohol?
Yes.
overconsumption?
Yeah. Yeah. So the other thing is weight. There are definitely cancers that are related to weight, uterine, colon, breast. It was lung, and there's one other, I can't remember what it is, that are linked to being underweight, and it's probably related to smoking. So there are benefits in terms of reducing our risk for cancers if you have a better body mass index. Exercise is also supposed to help reduce our risk for some types of cancers. I haven't seen why that is. It may be because we're reducing inflammatory markers in our system. I'm not quite sure how that works. Okay. So we've talked about exercise and what we eat. Another thing is stress. When we're under stress, what do? We eat bad foods, right? Comfort foods. Comfort foods are not known for being healthy for us. We stop exercising. We want to hibernate. And those are not good ways of managing it. So I think part of it is looking at, you're feeling stressed, you're feeling anxious, looking to see what it is that you're so anxious about or what's bothering us, and trying to decide if it's something that you can fix, and if it is, how you can go about fixing it. Sometimes that's not easy. Or if it's not something you can fix, if you can let it go. And that's really hard to do. Healthy stress relievers, laughter is a good stress reliever. So going to see a funny movie, reading something, an uplifting book, spending time with uplifting friends. I think we all have friends that we come away with, like we go in and we whine for a few minutes and then we laugh about whatever, and you come away and you feel better. We also have friends who aren't uplifting, and we have those relationships because we feel we're obligated or they need help or whatever, and that's okay too, but that's not going to be helpful in terms of reducing our stress. So realizing the friends that we need to spend time with, and again, carving out that time, even if it's half an hour to go for a walk or to have a cup of coffee. Exercise is a very good stress reliever. And again, it's hard to do when you're stressed and you feel so overwhelmed with things, but just going outside, going for a brisk walk, I think we all feel better, right? I think we've all had the experience where we go to a gym. I mean, nobody goes into the gym saying, yay, I'm here, but everybody walks out thinking, I'm glad to have that done. You know, the rest of my day is set. I'm going to feel better. I personally think spending time outside is helpful. There's something about being in the sunlight, working in our garden, spending time with our dogs, pushing a child on a swing. There's something that just helps us reset. We spend so much time with fluorescent lights sitting, and not necessarily what we need for our own bodies. So pets are supposed to be very good stress relievers. Petting your dog, petting your cat. I don't really find that, but I do notice that if I'm holding somebody's baby, like that really regenerates me. Like even if the baby's crying, like I can handle it because it's, you know. So part of it's learning what it is that recharges your battery and making time for that. Okay, so harmful habits, I think we'd all agree. Pornography, smoking, gambling, really there's no benefit to those things. And if you have those in your life, those are detrimental to our health and our relationships and work, and so you need to work towards eliminating those. Eating and alcohol are a little bit harder because we all need to eat. Alcohol, there is some modest benefit, or there is some benefit from modest alcohol intake if you're over 40. If you don't drink, I don't recommend starting, but that's something that you know, if you're having trouble with that, cutting back on that. So other things about our health, managing our time and our money. If we're having, so this is kind of beyond just like the medical stuff, but you know, if you're in debt, I think that's very stressful for us. And so figuring out a way to get out of debt. If we're wasting our time on the internet, looking up who's dating who, and you know, and the stars and stuff, really focusing on what's important and being good stewards of our time and our money. stewardship, giving of your time, your energy, your money to other people. I think we all feel good when we're doing something for other people. Meditation, prayer, and contemplation. These things, it's about 20 minutes a day that we're supposed to do. I think this is the one area that I struggle with. I just have a hard time just sitting down, not doing anything. But there's a lot of benefit to quieting the mind. There's this big mindfulness wave that's going through, and I think it's really important for us to calm down and to do things more mindfully as opposed to racing through our day and not really paying attention to what we're doing. Protecting your sleep, I think, especially as women, I think we tend to we're doing laundry, we're doing the dishes, we're doing all these things, and then we're cutting our sleep shorter and shorter so that we can get all those things done. And it's really important for us to get our sleep. It's important for our immune system. It's important for our sense of well-being. It's important for men to get their sleep too. If there's things that are interfering with our ability to sleep, our husband's snoring, the lights are on, the dog's getting up and down, maybe moving the dog to another room, making sure all the lights are dim. Some people have to sleep in another room if their husband or their partner is very noisy, but really trying to get enough sleep. And the last thing is simplifying our lives, just cutting out the stuff that isn't needed in our lives. Okay, so change is of course very hard. So I think, visualizing change, seeing where you want to be. I want to wear this dress for my cousin's wedding in 6 months. I want to retire and travel. I want to play on the playground with my grandkids. Whatever your goal is, but visualize it and then break it down into small pieces. So, if you're not exercising, figuring out how can you get 15 minutes a day in, and then and maybe adding a couple extra servings of fruits and vegetables. Doing that for about a month. Lent is actually really good. That's a perfect time to change a habit. So making a change, finishing, at a month, reevaluating, saying, hey, that's not so bad, making another change and working at it like that. You don't have to revamp everything at one time. It doesn't work very well. Taking that negative tape recorder out of our heads, the one that says, oh, we've tried this before, it didn't work, and saying, I can do it. And working towards it. So making little and big goals, review your goals as you go through. Working out at lunch isn't working out because I keep getting, the phone keeps ringing. So how do you, what's a better time for you to incorporate that? And then just make changes and go on. Okay, that's the end. I know it's kind of quick, but do you guys have any questions? No?
We appreciate you reviewing things that we know we should do.
Yeah.
You can't hear it enough, I think.
Right. Well, it is, and it's hard, and I think that there's so much stuff that's overwhelming. And the thing is, sometimes it's just tweaking stuff, right? You don't have to do a major overhaul.
Well, and the thing is, it can be, you have to think about what you need to get done. Reorganizing a closet may involve lifting weight.
Yeah, exactly.
10 hangers weigh a lot.
Right. And there is something about doing housework in terms of exercise. Vacuuming, dusting, and part of it's moving, right? And, if you're sitting, so TV, I didn't talk about TV, but TV is actually one of the worst things we can do. It's very relaxing. I enjoy watching TV with my kids, but it really lowers your metabolism, and it lowers it after you finish watching TV. And reading a book doesn't do that. So, yeah.
What's the reason behind that?
I think because you just kind of.
Versus your mind thinking when you're reading?
I think that's what it is, because that's all that's different, really, right? Because you're
When you're reading, you have to think about it. And when you're watching TV, it's kind of mindless.
yeah.
Yeah. And your brain does use a lot of calories.
Yeah.
We don't think about that.
Right. So. All right. I think I think I got you guys
You're
back on
close.
time.
You did a nice job.
Yeah, thanks.